Hello and welcome. We're about to journey into a text so controversial it was literally written out of history, and yet it was so influential that it was quoted in the New Testament itself. This is the story of a lost book that might just change everything you thought you knew about angels, demons, and where evil really comes from. So what if I told you the Bible actually quotes a book that, well, that got lost? Just imagine this, a book packed with wild stories of rebellious angels, giant cannibals, and secrets of the cosmos. And here's the kicker. This wasn't some fringe text. For a lot of early Jews and Christians, this was considered sacred scripture. Well, that book has a name, and its story is what we're here to explore today. We're talking about the Book of Enoch. Okay, to really get a grip on why this book was so powerful, we need to rewind the clock, way back. We're going to the Second Temple period. Now, this is the time between when the Second Temple was built in Jerusalem and when the Romans eventually destroyed it. It was a chaotic, creative, and intense time for religion. And right in the middle of all that, this book was a huge deal. So the Book of Enoch isn't actually just one single story. It's more like a collection of different writings, all bundled together. And its most famous section, the part called the Book of the Watchers, well, that's where we get a truly shocking tale. And this story, it doesn't start on Earth. No, it starts up in the heavens with a rebellion. According to the book, there was this group of angels, right? They were known as the Watchers, and they looked down from heaven, saw human women, and they lusted after them. So they did the unthinkable. They abandoned their posts in heaven and came down to Earth. And their union, it created something terrifying, an offspring called the Nephilim. Now, we're not talking about your average giants here. These were colossal beings, a whole race of them that towered over humanity, casting these long, ominous shadows everywhere they went. These giants had an insatiable appetite. They just consumed everything. And when all the resources of the earth just weren't enough to satisfy them, they turned on humanity itself. And then they even turned on each other, filling the entire world with unbelievable violence and corruption. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds like some wild, forgotten myth, right? But here's where things get really interesting. This supposedly lost book, it actually shows up in the Bible itself. I mean, its ideas were everywhere at the time. Archaeologists found fragments of Enoch tucked away with the Dead Sea Scrolls, which tells you it was absolutely vital to that ancient community. But the most direct, undeniable link, that's found in the New Testament. And just look at this. It's brilliant. The Epistle of Jude, a book right there in the New Testament, quotes directly from the Book of Enoch. It treats it like a legitimate prophecy from a real prophet. This isn't just a hint or an illusion, you guys. It's a direct, word-for-word quote. That's a massive clue to how incredibly influential this lost book really was. So that begs the question, right? If it was so important enough to be quoted in the New Testament, what happened? How did a book like this just disappear from most Bibles? Well, the reasons are pretty complex, but it kind of boils down to this. As both Christian and Jewish theologies started to get more organized and standardized, Enoch's really radical ideas, about angels having lust and this whole alternative origin for evil, they just became more and more problematic. These wild, chaotic stories simply didn't fit with the cleaner, more orderly view of the universe that was taking shape. So the book was systematically pushed aside, rejected, and for over 1,000 years. Think about that, a millennium. It was believed to be completely, totally lost to the Western world. But the story doesn't end there, because in one corner of the world, it wasn't lost at all. It never disappeared. That's right, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, one of the oldest Christian churches in the entire world, they held on to it. They preserved the complete, entire text of 1 Enoch in their ancient language, Ge'ez. And for them, it has always been a part of their official Bible. It's still considered scripture there to this very day. So when European explorers finally rediscovered the Book of Enoch in the 18th century, it did way more than just fill in a historical blank. It ignited an absolute firestorm of debate. And that debate is still raging today, everywhere from academic halls to the deepest corners of the internet. And one of the biggest controversies, one of the hottest points of debate, boils down to a single profound question. Where did demons actually come from?
See, the Bible doesn't give a super clear origin story for demons, but the Book of Enoch, it provides a stunning, and to many, a compelling answer. Demons are the disembodied spirits of those dead giants, the Nephilim, spirits that are forever trapped on Earth with nowhere to go. And this interpretation, wow, does it spark some intense arguments. You've got people pointing to passages and saying, see, Jesus didn't say angels can't have sex, he just said they don't marry. The whole thing gets really heated, and it all boils down to how you interpret a few really crucial verses. But then you have the other side, arguing just as passionately. They'll say, hold on, there's nothing in the Bible that supports angels breeding with humans. They believe that the sons of God mentioned in Genesis weren't angels at all. Instead, they were the righteous human descendants of Seth, and they were intermarrying with the unrighteous line of Cain. So you can see the debate over this ancient, mysterious book is alive and well. From scholarly journals to late-night forums, it forces all of us to ask some really fundamental questions. Questions about evil, about scripture, and about the stories we ultimately choose to believe. Ultimately, the survival of the Book of Enoch is this powerful reminder, isn't it? It shows us that our history isn't just defined by the stories we remember. It's also defined by the stories that were lost, suppressed, and sometimes miraculously rediscovered. And that really leaves us with a final, lingering thought to consider. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration. Honestly, digging into these fascinating, sometimes controversial texts is what we love to do. But it means nothing without your curiosity and your time. That is deeply, deeply valued. Thank you for watching.